Have no idea how to get into your dream law school? I'm gonna show you the tips, the tricks, and the trade to slay your law school application. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscription button and the bell to be notified anytime I post a video about getting into your dream law school or navigating the law school process in general. My name is Ndidi Amadi, otherwise known as Legally Ndidi, and I am your friendly law school expert next door, your law school bestie, your law school fairy godmother, all of the above. I've used this knowledge to help dozens of aspiring lawyers get into their dream law school, and I am excited to help you along your journey of becoming a lawyer. So let's get into it. The first thing that you're going to need to do on your journey of applying to your dream law school is you're going to need to research the school. So based on you, based on your preferences, people have different things that they're looking for out of law school. Some people, they really are focused on the rankings. They want to go to the top 14 law school, as we call it in the legal community, T14 law schools. Some people, rankings are not as important and they want to go to a school that's close to home. So geographical location is going to be something that's really important to them. They're going to focus on schools only in Texas or whatever the case may be. For some people, it might be diversity. They're really looking for the faculty body to be diverse, the students to be diverse, or special affinity programs that they want to belong to. For some people, it might be a particular program. Say, for instance, someone is interested in being a fashion lawyer. Not every law school has a fashion law program. So you're going to want to do your research based off of the things that you are looking for specifically in a law school. And you can just create a list, do like a brain drain, everything that you want in a law school. I want a law school that has a strong career center. I want a law school that has a strong OCI program. I want a law school that has a BALSA, Black Law Students Association. I want a law school that has faculty that have an open door policy. It's going to be up to you. Once you get the list of everything that you're looking for in a law school, you're going to want to look at the admission requirements, because although many of these law schools have similar admission requirements, some schools might have additional requirements that you need to pay attention to. I want to talk about two acronyms that you're going to be familiar with if you are applying to law school. The first one is LSAC, which stands for the Law School Admission Council. And the second is CAS, which stands for the Credential Assembly Service. Both of those things are going to be a requirement for when you want to upload your application. Now, if you don't have a profile or an account on LSAC, that's the first thing you're going to want to do. It's a great website, a great resource, and it's actually free to sign up. When you are ready to apply, you're going to need to pay for the Credential Assembly Service, or CAS. So those are two of the acronyms that I want you to become familiar with. LSAC, CAS. LSAC, CAS. LSAC, CAS. So you've done your research, you created a list, perhaps a spreadsheet of all the schools you want to apply to, you've looked at the admission requirements, and in your research, you're seeing that a lot of these schools are requiring a test. The test is the LSAT, which stands for the Law School Admission Test. Now, after you've done your research, you've also seen that some schools are allowing people to take the GRE instead of the LSAT. And even more so, some schools are allowing students to apply test optionally, meaning that they're taking the option of not taking the test. Having all that said, it's still most common for you to take the LSAT. Now, studying for the LSAT, I want you to have the mentality of like one and done. One and done. I'm only doing this once. I don't have the time to keep on doing it again and again and again. And if you have that mentality, like I'm just going to go super hardcore in studying for the LSAT and acing it that one time, I think it'll put you in the right mind frame to take the LSAT seriously the first time. And this is not to say that you can't take it again. Of course, people take it again. But who has time? Who has time for that? Who has the resources for that? The test requires money. You want to save all your mental energy, all your resources, and all of that. So you're going to want to try to take it the first time and get a really good score the first time. I'll probably do a separate video on the LSAT and break down the sections and everything of that nature. But for now, I want you to know that there is a test for the most part to get into law school. You're going to want to treat it like a part-time job when you're studying for it. And I strongly advise you to take a test prep course, because the LSAT is not a test of intelligence. You could be super smart. and still not know how to take the test. The LSAT is a test of skill, it's a test of practice, it's a test of strategy. So you're going to want to prepare for that. Now, we all know that having a strong GPA is important to applying to law school, so you're going to need to request official transcripts from all colleges and universities that you've attended so that the admission officers can see your grades. All right, so I want to hear from you. What is your dream school? Put it in the comments. What schools are you applying to? What schools are you thinking of applying to? Let me know. So the next thing you're going to need in your law school application are letters of recommendation. And the types of letters of recommendation that hold the most weight are letters from faculty members, your previous professors, or even your current professors. And what admission officers want to know, they want to know if you are able to perform academically well, if you will, because law school is a very academically challenging place, and they want to be able to hear from previous professors how you have done in the past when it comes to your grades and academic performance. If you are taking a gap year or gap years, feel free to submit a letter from a supervisor, but it would be really helpful if you can get at least one letter of recommendation from a previous professor. And then you're going to use the CAS, Credential Assembly Service, to request those letters of recommendation, and they're going to upload it into the portal. Now you have to figure out how to pay for it. That is another video, because we all know that law school is very expensive. So that is, part 2. Next, I want to talk about the personal statement. Now, the personal statements are some of my favorite essays to read of applicants who are applying to law school, because you get to learn about the student outside of the numbers, outside of the GPA, outside of the LSAT. You get to find out about the person. And this is really your chance to let the school know, the admission officers know about who you are, what makes you you. It's personal. You want to keep it personal for a reason. You also want to talk about why. What is prompting you to go to law school? Why now? Why do you need to be a lawyer? Why do you need this education? What's driving you? The personal statement is so important, and a lot of admission officers, and me talking to them and knowing them and being friends with them, they really enjoy reading these letters as well. So you really want to make sure that you take time to write your personal statement. Make sure that you have somebody review it, not only for content, but for grammar as well. And just let your personality shine. Let them know who you are. I also want to talk about other essays. So the personal statement is a requirement for your law school application, but some schools will allow for optional essays. One of them being the diversity statement, where you can talk about your diverse background or your commitment to diversity. However, I will say that nothing in your application should be a repeat. So if your personal statement is all about, I'm first generation American and this and that, that's what mine was. Mine was about being first generation Nigerian American. Your diversity statement should not be the same thing. It should be something different, perhaps another identity that you have. And this is the advice that I would tell you for your entire application. So for example, a common mistake that I see when I'm reading people's essays is that you will have to submit a legal resume for your law school application. People will treat their personal statement like a legal resume. It'll read like, I interned here and I did this, that, and here. And I'll let them know. I was like, the personal statement is not for that. You are already submitting a legal resume. You don't have to regurgitate that information. Everything should be new. Everything in your application should be a new tidbit of information, or else your application becomes redundant. Also, let's go back to the research. When you did your research for the schools that you're applying for, you'll see that some schools have different requirements. So like I said, the personal statement is a required essay. However, some schools will make additional essays a requirement. So for example, Yale has, on top of the personal statement, a 250-word essay that is a requirement as well. So this is why your research is so important, so you can see the admission requirements for each school. In addition to personal statement or perhaps a specific school essay or a diversity statement, some schools will allow for you to submit additional addendums, and the addendums can be used to address anything that you would deem not as favorable on your application. Perhaps you had a semester where your grades plummeted and you want to explain that away, or something happened with the LSAT where you had to continue to cancel your LSAT scores. You can use that addendum to explain anything on your profile or your record that you would want them to to know about. You pretty much don't want anybody reading your application to have any questions. You can be proactive about that and just explain it before they even have any questions. All right, now that you have all your application materials together, you're going to fill out the application form for each school. You're gonna pay the application fee. Now, this process can get really expensive, especially if you're applying for like more than 10 schools. The price adds up. So if any chance that you can get an application waiver, whether it's through the LSAC fee waiver, or some schools will give you an application waiver if you see them in person, through like law school fairs or law school forums, take the opportunity because this process is very expensive. It is an investment into your future career and into your future dream school. So you're going to want to look into ways that you can cut costs. Okay, so this is the fun part. Well, the fun part comes after this part. So you're going to wait. There is a waiting period. And the fun part is when all your acceptances start rolling in. For me, I was so excited. I was a first-gen law student in this country. So to see that I actually did the process and I got accepted, it was just like the best time. And also because life happens, you might get waitlisted or you even might get denied. So you want to keep track of all your acceptances and your wait list, perhaps on that spreadsheet that you created in the beginning. And you're going to want to keep in mind the seat deposit deadline. And you're going to put down your little seat deposit so that you can start your journey of becoming a lawyer. Now, some other advice that I want to give when you are applying to law school is people ask me, how many law schools should I apply for? I like to put it in categories. I don't like to give a number like you got to do 20. I like to put it in categories. So for instance, you're going to have your 5 reach schools. These are schools where perhaps your scores are not there, your GPA is not there, based on the data, based on the median of the scores of students accept. Say for instance, like a Yale. So you're gonna have, let's say you're applying to 15 schools, 5 reach schools, the Yales, the Harvards up there. Then you're gonna have 5 target schools. Say your scores are comparable to schools top 20, top 25. Those are your target schools because you know that you are competitive in that field and that range. And then you're gonna have your safety schools. And these are schools where perhaps your scores are a little bit higher than their average medium, but they should still be schools that you want to go to. So even though it's a safety school, it should still be a school, if you get accepted, that you wanna go to. So break it down into that category. 5 reach schools, 5 target schools, 5 safety schools. So if you're applying to 15 schools, 5, 5, 5. So like this video if any of these tips or all of these tips have helped you in the law school process. Another tip that I want to leave you with is you really want to examine the cost of this. This whole thing is an investment. So I really want you to know that this is the path that you want to take before you even start applying, because it's easy for this whole thing to get away from you and then you end up in the rabbit hole. So just really consider the cost. How much will it be for an LSAT course? How much will it be for the applications? How much do I want to spend? Will I need someone to review my essays? Will I need a coach? So really consider how much you want to invest in this. It's worth the investment. I can tell you that. I've been through the process. It's worth the investment, but know that it is an investment and know how much you're putting into this before you even start. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you know every time that I drop a new video about getting into law school, navigating law school in general, becoming a lawyer. I'm your girl. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.